Before I get into this video, I just want everyone to know that I've really been trying to put this video off. I haven't felt comfortable to talk about this subject until recently, and the reason why I've been so hesitant to do this video is because this is a very controversial topic. As you can see from the title, this video is about how I wanted to be a boy. And when I say that, I don't mean that I was just a tomboy. When I was younger, I really fully believed that I was a boy trapped inside a girl's body. You might be watching this and feeling very confused because evidently I am very much female. As an adult, I completely embrace feminine things. Not to the absolute extreme. I wouldn't say that I'm super duper feminine, but what I can say is that I definitely don't feel the same now. And before I get into the nitty-gritty details of this story, I first want to put out a disclaimer. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I feel a calling to share my experiences. Every experience that I've had in my life has taught me so many lessons. I'm evidently not a private person because I have a YouTube channel, so the whole purpose behind me doing what I do is to share my life experiences and to try and help people. Another reason why I'm doing this video is because I have mentioned it in a previous video, therefore I feel like I need to elaborate on this story, but I just want you to know that I am not at all trying to discredit anyone who is suffering from gender dysphoria. I can't speak for anybody else's experience but my own. I have not walked in another person's shoes, therefore I can't dictate how they should and shouldn't feel. And I believe that instead of judging other people, we should instead try to understand. I really don't like doing these deathly serious videos, so I'm probably going to break out into some kind of awkward humour just to lighten the tone a bit, but I just really needed to put out that disclaimer first. So in a nutshell, this video is just me talking about my personal experience. Nothing else. And if this video somehow reaches you and you're experiencing similar things, maybe this video could help. And I also want to just mention, please try and keep the comments section as respectful as possible because of how controversial this subject is. So now that I've got all of that out of the way, let's just get into the story. For those of you that watched my video about my school experience, how I was homeschooled and why I dropped out of school, you will already know that when I was younger, I wanted to be anything but myself. I believe that this was a coping mechanism, and from the earliest that I can remember, I wanted to be a boy. And just to validate how strongly I felt this, I did not want anyone to refer to me as she or her. Every time that someone did refer to me as a she, it really felt icky. I didn't want to be called by my actual name, I wanted to be called Max. And under no circumstances did I want to be called pretty or wear anything feminine. I couldn't bear the thought of wearing a dress or a skirt or flowers. It just disgusted me. And when I went to school, this was very much unheard of. There was probably a lot of things that my parents shielded from me, as in things that the teachers would say and concerns that they raised about this issue. The fact that certain parents didn't want their children hanging out with me, particularly if they were girls. So what happened was I predominantly had male friends, and for so many years these other children that were boys accepted me as one of the boys, like officially. And I think what we have to bear in mind here is that when you're a child, your mind is more pure and accepting than that of an adult. Because you don't really understand the world and rules that are invented and social issues. When you're a child, that doesn't exist because you've just been born into the world. So that's why I feel like the other boys were so accepting. It just didn't really seem like a big deal to them. Incidentally, maybe in year 2, I did have a female friend eventually who claimed to be a tomboy but didn't want to be a boy. So that was the closest thing in common that I could find in another female, if you get what I mean. Like, she kind of had the same mindset as me at the time, but not to the extreme like I did. Now, when I was younger, my mom didn't want me to cut my hair short. I had long hair like this, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I wanted a boy cut, really, really short, not like a pixie cut. I wanted an actual boy's haircut. So you might be wondering at this point, what happened? How did you go from feeling so strongly this way and then somehow flipped all the other way? Well, I wish that I could tell you something really poetic, like an extreme defining point that changed me completely. And the best that I can give you is quite simple and kind of left me with more questions than answers. But after learning a lot about psychology and looking into what exactly could have happened, I do have some kind of an explanation for it. So I remember it quite vividly. I was watching TV and suddenly I saw a music video of Christina Aguilera for her music video Dirty. I'm sure you all remember it. I watched that music video and I'd never seen anything like it before. I was so inspired by how she was dancing and singing and the way that she held herself and the way that she was so confident and her aura that suddenly, like a snap of a finger, something just clicked in my head. And suddenly, for the first time ever, I had seen a representation of a female that I was actually inspired by. This was roundabout at the end of primary school, so I'd went all the way through primary school wanting to be a boy. Everybody knew that I essentially identified as male, and then suddenly I went all the other way. I had shunned everything that was feminine completely away up until that point. And then it was like I had this newfound discovery of all these things that I could be. I suddenly wanted to be feminine. Again, not fully. I wanted to wear dresses. And just to add in here, right, when I was very young, I had this outfit. I called it my cool dude outfit, and it looked like a cheap version of Bart Simpson on the front. It was a shorts and t-shirt set, and this was during the phase I wanted to be a boy. And my mom had put me in this velvet blue dress that was so girly. It literally made me want to be sick. But she put me in this dress because there was going to be a school photo. And what I did was I put the dress on, but underneath I had my cool dude outfit. So Mom drove me to the school, and right before the photo shoot, I took the dress off. And then she just gets this picture weeks later and she's like, "You're not wearing the dress." That's me all over, I tell you. That part of me hasn't changed. So anyway, I had this complete flip. It was like a whole new world had been opened up to me. I feel like it was another opportunity really for me to just change my identity. And you can see a pattern of this throughout my life. I have had so many different periods of my life where I've looked completely different. I was a goth. I had blue hair. I went through the scene phase. I went through the super skinny phase. I've had red hair, black hair, ginger hair, blonde hair. I kind of feel like a shapeshifter at this point. And then most people are probably looking and they're like, well, you look boring now. You just got brown hair and you just tanned and stuff. But I really think that I've started to actually find myself. You've got to put it into perspective, right? Growing up is confusing for way longer than what you think. You know, you're born into a world that has all of these rules, all of these social constructs, all these people telling you who you're supposed to be and who you're not supposed to be, what you should and shouldn't do. You're given all these rules that don't really make much sense. You're put into an institution, aka school, and you've got all these opinions from everybody else telling you how to live your life. And to go back to why I think I changed my mind about how I felt gender-wise, I think it was as simple as when you're a child, you are very easily influenced. You're learning about the world. The things that I predominantly watched was Disney. I watched a lot of Disney. In fact, Disney was my entire childhood. And if you really think about it, the male tends to be the main character in every Disney film. And they're strong, they're powerful, they're courageous. And then they always have some form of damsel in distress, female, that couldn't survive without them. Even the Disney princesses, they are not presented in a way that is empowering at all. And then you've got Mulan, who's literally not even gonna get accepted unless she pretends to be a male. Was that Mulan? Yeah, Mulan. Quite frankly, when I was watching these Disney films and I was seeing the female characters that were represented, I literally thought, I don't want to be like that. That's pathetic. It is. Like, I've never felt like some damsel in distress that needs some kind of saving. And that's the message that I was told subconsciously through Disney films. And there was a lot of girls in primary school that embraced this, what I believe to be pathetic femininity. And I just wasn't vibing with it. And then Christina Aguilera comes along. Again, guys, I wish that I had a more poetic story for you, but I don't. Christina, to me, was the first ever female representation that I'd seen that was actually inspiring. She was strong, confident, didn't have this weak vibe. There was an element of edginess and grittiness in the way that she dressed. And even to this day, I still feel like there's certain feminine traits or things that are classed as feminine that I'm still like, not really into. Like, you wouldn't catch me dead in a frilly, flowery dress. I don't even want my hair to be curly because I just don't like it when my hair's curly. But that's just taste, I guess. I'm not saying that I hate curly hair. I just don't like me having curly hair. And in addition to that, I feel as if I do have a certain element of masculine energy, but I also have feminine energy. And what I've learnt through my spiritual journey is that masculine and feminine energy exists within every single one of us. Sometimes it's more this way, sometimes it's more that way, but what the spiritual people say is that both of these energies need to be healthy. Like, it's good to have a healthy amount of that energy. I think I probably should do a video about the divine masculine and divine feminine, but the message that I want to put across here is to just follow your heart. Try to shut out everybody else's voice and opinion about what you should and shouldn't be doing, because ultimately that's going to stop you from being who you really are. You know, with my parents, for example, they were a bit confused to say the least when I wanted to be a boy, but they just allowed me to be who I wanted to be. And if I wanted to change, it was no big deal. One thing that is a huge issue is that sometimes other people put pressure on us, and they put so much pressure and they hang on to this idea of who you should be so much that it clouds your vision, that it can become even more difficult for you to find yourself. I think personally we should just let people be whatever and whoever they want to be. And the more that you make a huge deal out of it, the more I think that the problem just escalates. So there it is. I hope that this video translates well to whoever's watching. I don't ever want to make a video to upset someone. I only want to make videos that could either inspire you or just enlighten you to another perspective. If there's anything in this video that resonates with you, please feel free to comment that below. If you like this video, please make sure to drop it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Love you, bye!